What's up, everyone? Aaron Nagler here for PackersNews.com, live on Facebook late in the day on Wednesday. Guess who's back? Back again. That's right. Aaron Rodgers took the practice field this afternoon and just spoke with reporters a little bit ago. We've heard from Mike McCarthy. We've heard from Aaron Rodgers. We've heard from all the guys. Now it's time to hear from you. Let's see what's on your mind, Packers fans, and how you feeling now that 12 is back. Hey, Jerry, how are you? Mike, what's up? Jem, is he starting? Yes. Aaron Rodgers will be starting Sunday in Carolina. I'll be flying on Saturday, but yes, he is back and he will start. Will says, I'm worried Rodgers will get hurt. Yeah, but you're worried Rodgers will get hurt every time he takes the field. He's a football player. It's a violent game. He might get hurt. He might not. Guys get hurt every single week. Happy Wednesday anniversary. Did you take a few for Rodgers? Yes, Jason, my wife and I celebrated our 15th anniversary last night, and we were out for dinner right when the news broke. My wife is really sick of the Packers at this point. But yeah, no, it was good. It was nice to see everyone's excitement. All is right with the world again, says Bridget. It does feel like the Packers are set to make a run. Will McCarthy keep running the ball instead of just relying on Rodgers? Alberto, I think there'll be a type of adjustment. Now, the Panthers have an excellent run defense. I think it's rated number 3 in the NFL. So it's, not a given that they can just run the football. I tend to think they'll probably go down the path they went down last year, starting in Philadelphia, when they went to the quick rhythm, short passing game, and try and use that to kind of stretch the defenses horizontally. Going to have to score 60 points, says Mike. I don't know about all that, but they are definitely going to have to outscore opponents. The Packers defense is so banged up in the secondary and has such issues when they're playing zone. I can't imagine that Carolina is not going to score at least a couple, 3-4 touchdowns. Virginia, hey, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. Rob, thank you very much. Very nice of you to say. Rodgers is tough, though. I agree. He's tough as hell. One of the first posts I ever wrote about Aaron Rodgers was how his toughness was underappreciated. He's a guy throughout the years who he's taken some punishment and always kind of waved off the coaching staff or the training staff. He's a tough son of a gun. Who will spy Cam? Matt, that's a good question. I don't think there'll be a spy per se down in and down out. I don't think that's going to be the majority of the time. I think they will use one on occasion. Sometimes they have Matthews doing it, maybe Martinez. But last time they were down in Carolina, Capers did a lot of kind of spin the wheel, so to speak, of playing lots of different coverages, trying lots of different things. The Panthers kind of ate through all of it, jumped out to a big lead early. The Packers obviously came back and could have won had Rodgers seen Randall Cobb wide open in the end zone. But, it's, they've got to slow down Cam. And I think the best way to do that is to, load up the box and try and make them beat you on the perimeter. Now, the problem is the Packers don't really have anything outside of Demarius Randall at the corner position. So it's going to be a tough road. Clay Matthews has been good the last 2 games. I think Clay Matthews has been pretty good all year. He has definitely stepped it up the last 2 weeks. There's no doubt about that. But I think this is his best season in probably 3 or 4 years. The sacks have not been there consistently. The pressure on the quarterback has not been there consistently. But overall, this is one of his strongest seasons. Hope Jordy shines. Anita, I would think the big kind of piece that this adds, having Rodgers back there, obviously a lot will kind of open up for the Packers on offense. But the big thing having Rodgers back does is when it comes to Nelson, their chemistry and their ability to read things on the fly is just unparalleled, not only on this team, but throughout the NFL. Their ability to kind of read things the same, like if it's a cover 3 or a cover 2, adjustments that Jordy will make to his route running while the play is happening. Those are things that, they're not going to affect the game when Hundley's in there, because Hundley's not as adept and hasn't played as much, just in general, but with Nelson specifically. But with Jordy and Aaron, their kind of ability at the line of scrimmage and at post-snap is just on such another level that I think Jordy will become obviously much more productive because of it. Oh, there we go, Sue. Why take the chance of Rodgers getting re-injured? Let him heal up and come back 100% next year. I understand that why people think that. but I think people also don't understand how important it is to get into the playoffs and the chance you have to make a run once you get there. I know people say, "Oh, the defense is going to fall apart," or "Why even get into the playoffs? We're just going to get beat," etc., etc. Every chance in the playoffs, once you're in the dance, anything can happen. Literally anything. Well, okay, a UFO won't come out of the earth, but in the parlance of the times of the football game, anything can happen. I always point to the Indianapolis Colts the year they won the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. They had the worst run defense in the league. And they got into the playoffs, and they played 3 of the toughest games on defense, stopping the run, that no one had seen coming. And they ran that kind of turnaround right to the Super Bowl. And I'm not saying that's going to happen for the Packers, but you never know. And you're not going to find out unless they get into the postseason. Packers fans take postseason berths for granted, and it's never been more apparent than this week when people are saying exactly what you just said, Sue. And that's not to, harp on you. Like I said, I've gotten it from a lot of people. But if you've got a chance to get into the postseason, which the Packers have, you absolutely have to take it. You've got to play Rodgers, and you've got to get out there. And as far as the possibility for re-injury, he could get hurt walking out of his condo tomorrow. He could get hurt on any given play. Had he not gotten injured in Minnesota, he could be injured on any other play. He's a football player. He's going to get hurt. The injury rate in the NFL is 100%. You don't play scared. And if he comes back, quote unquote, 100% next year, there's no telling what kind of position they're going to be in. There's no telling what kind of, you automatically assume they're going to go on a run, but that's not a given. In the present, in the here and now, they have the opportunity, if they win out, to get into the postseason. You got to take it. You got to go. You got to grab for the brass ring. Better chance winning with Rodgers than without him. Very true. Play action now, knowing Aaron is back, will be dangerous. What do you think? I do. I think they've got to be able to establish that run first for the play action to work. Although Rodgers early in his career was a master at making play action work even when the running game wasn't effective. But if they can get Jamal Williams going and force the Panthers to drop that safety down, absolutely there will be opportunities down the field. You got to be patient with it. You got to set it up. But I think, yes, definitely that should open up. Can Rodgers return with the first team make the defense better? I'm not so sure that it's going to make the defense, quote unquote, better, but I think his presence, gives the defense, it doesn't give them much other than their opportunistic ways. Rodgers just needs an extra possession and they can win football games. There are games, look back at the Ravens game. They got 3 turnovers and they got no points off of it. If that's Aaron Rodgers, they're getting points off those turnovers. The Packers are never going to be a shutdown defense, but the way they are opportunistic will give Aaron Rodgers and the offense extra opportunities, and that will help them win football games. And that's how pretty much they've operated since Dom Capers has come to town. They need the opportunities. They need to give the offense opportunities, and that's with Rodgers in there instead of Hundley, you can not assume, but you can expect them to put points on the board up off of those turnovers. Whereas with Hundley, you really couldn't. Any chance of getting King back if they go deep in the playoffs? No, Todd. He's done. He's on injured reserve, and the Packers have used or will have used both of their designated to return designations with the return of Jason Spriggs, and now Aaron Rodgers will come off IR later this week. You only get 2 per year. So, anybody placed on IR from here on forward is done for the season. Are you going to shave now that he's back? Mark, I don't know. Right now, I'm kind of enjoying having some scruff because it got really cold here in New York. And I saw it snowed back in Green Bay. And I'll be back in Green Bay, obviously, for the Vikings game. So I think I'm gonna keep the beard going for the winter. We'll see. At the very least, you think Rodgers flits time of possession and field position. Yeah, I think the MO for this team doesn't change a whole lot in regards to, when Hundley was there. Obviously it changed in Cleveland because they fell so far behind, but I think with Hundley under center, they had to kind of play ball control a little bit, and that's why, one of the reasons they featured their ground game. And with Rodgers, I don't think much changes in that regard, just because you don't want that defense on the field longer than you have to. That's why those 3 and outs hurt so much, because it just puts that defense right back out in the field. And there have been plenty of games in this last month and a half where they have just been worn down by the fourth quarter. So yeah, they've got to be productive. They've got to move the chains and win that time of possession. Will they trade Hundley or extend his contract next year? Russ, great question. I think they will bring him back next year. I don't think they'll trade him. He's more valuable now in Green Bay than anywhere else in the league. I talked about this in my podcast this week, which you guys should all check out at PackersNews.com. Now that he's played and he's got some experience in the offense, starting in the league, I think they absolutely keep him around. He's going to be dirt cheap next year. I think he's set to make like something around $400,000. Unless somebody comes in with some kind of crazy trade offer, like some big-time pick, which I don't see happening. But unless that happens, I think they absolutely bring him back, and he's their backup next year. Because now they know how to play with him. They know what his strengths are. They know what his weaknesses are. They've seen him develop over the last 2 months. I wouldn't expect them to just give that away now. Like I said, he's more valuable to the Packers than I think anybody else. I can't imagine a team looking at Brett Hundley and saying, oh, yes, that's what we need. Offer them a first-round pick. That's not going to happen. Nate, draft some better offensive linemen. That is a curious comment. I think they've drafted some really good offensive linemen. David Bakhtiari, Corey Linsley, Lane Taylor was undrafted. Brian Bulaga. Heck, McCray they brought back. He wasn't even drafted. I mean, they've drafted really well. They have a really good offensive line. It's weird. John, is House playing on Sunday? I would really doubt it. He could be back sooner than maybe we initially thought after we saw him go down in Cleveland. But McCarthy said on Monday that House would be, quote, challenged to play on Sunday, which is usually almost always an indication that he is not going to play this week. Nita, your wife is a saint for putting up with you at dinner last night. Yes, she is. I hope Cam doesn't run all over the defense. Don, I understand what you're saying, but I would be ready for it, because I think it's going to happen. He is such a freak of nature, and at least 2 or 3 times a game, Dom, gets into that 2-man call where all the defenders are running, and Carolina will have their wide receivers streak downfield, which opens things up. Their backs are to the quarterback, and Cam will just take off. It happens pretty much every time these two teams play. Is the offensive line healthy enough to keep A-Rod safe? Yeah, Chris, I think so. I think the offensive line is playing some of their best football. They absolutely knocked it out of the park against Cleveland. Will Rodgers wear extra padding on the shoulder? Good question. Not that I know of, but we'll see. We'll see what happens on Sunday. We'll ask him about it after the game. What does the defense need to do to contain Cam Newton? That's a good question. I know a lot of people will ask, well, if they spy, what kind of... I think the best thing they can do, and it's hard because you got to be really disciplined when you do it, is much more of a mush rush rather than pinning their ears back and getting after him on 3rd and long. He's killed them so many times over the years where, whether it's Clay Matthews, whether it's whoever's on the other, Nick Perry, what have you, the guys will come and he'll step up and they'll just come around and then he'll take off up the middle rather than just rushing to a point and kind of containing him. It's kind of how teams have started to play Aaron Rodgers the last year and a half or so. Rather than trying to cut the angle and get to the QB, just trying to hem him in and not giving him an outlet. It's going to be frustrating. He's going to complete some passes, but he's not going to kill you with his legs, which is what he has done every single time these two teams have met. I think Rodgers needs to get rid of it in 2 to 3 seconds. I said a little bit before, I said on my podcast, I think the short passing game is 1,000,000,000% the way to go. I think they're going to be loading up for the run. I think they are one of the best run defenses in the league. They absolutely will, I think, lean on Rodgers in the short, quick rhythm passing game. Any chance Janice gets some playing time at corner? Here we go. Rusty Rodgers, weak defense, any chance? Michael, of course there's a chance. Any given Sunday. If the Packers lose to the Panthers this Sunday, ending our playoff hopes, will Rodgers continue playing the last 2 games? Yes, I think so. And even if they lose on Sunday, they're not mathematically out of it. It will definitely be a serious long shot, but I think they'll still play Rodgers. Rodgers has a running game. Yes, he does. Where's Bryce been on injured reserve? Who takes the leadership role in the running back situation when everyone is healthy? Do they switch Montgomery back? I don't think, it doesn't really matter what they call Montgomery. I think he's going to be a switchblade type player, a guy who can line up all over the field. Maybe they utilize him on third down out of the backfield. But I just think this is Jamal Williams' job. I think Aaron Jones is a great change of pace. He's an explosive guy, but Jamal Williams is your workhorse, I think. Favre never got hit as much as Rodgers does. That's probably true. Favre also got the ball out of his hand quicker and didn't hold on to it as long as Rodgers does, looking for big plays. Penny. Really? So it's a super slim shot? If you're talking about the playoff hopes, not if they win out. If they win all 3 games, they got like an 85 to 90% chance of getting in. Steve, what's up, man? Will Aaron play the entire game, or will they give him a break and put Hundley in? Andrea, Aaron will play the entire game, provided he doesn't get hurt again. But yes, Aaron Rodgers is your starter, and Aaron Rodgers is going to play. How's Goodson? Mike, he was practicing, which is an advance from last week where he didn't practice at all. He's still dealing with a hamstring injury, though. He was limited at practice today, so we'll see how that develops over the week. I really hope that this game had been cross-flexed to CBS. It's much better than Vikings against the Bengals. You live in Los Angeles. Yeah, no, this will be on Fox, and it is being shown to a big part of the country. Any update on Nick Perry? I think he practiced today, but he's still limited. Better idea to keep Cam in or out of the pocket? In the pocket. He's killed the Packers out of the pocket. What's the deal with Devontae Mays? Well, he fumbled twice. First 2 times he touched it. That is never going to endear you to a coaching staff. It's funny, too, because Mike McCarthy keeps bringing him up unsolicited. Don't forget about Devontae Mays. And I always want to, next time he does it, I'm going to say, okay, we haven't it, but it sure seems like you have, because he's not even active on game day anymore. So, I don't know, we'll see. But I tend to think they're just redshirting him this year. Maybe they bring him up if, Williams or Jones gets injured again. But I don't think we'll see much of Mays until next year. If the Pack wins out, does Dom keep his job, or does he remain on the hot seat? Michael, that is a great question, and it's something I've been asking myself. I think a lot of it will depend on the nature of the games and how they do and what things look like, and if the defense gets torched but they win like 31-30, a lot has to play out. I can't envision Mike McCarthy firing Dom Capers if they make the postseason. Stranger things have happened. It could happen, but I don't know. That's a really good question, and the only way we're going to know is if we watch these games and how they play out. But Capers has got a bit of an excuse built in now with the complete decimation of the secondary and the lack of anyone up front who can get to the quarterback one-on-one. He can make a legit, or McCarthy can make a legit case to Thompson. Look, we need a pass rusher. And he's playing back there with nobody at corner outside Demarius Randall. So we'll see. I think there is a chance that he gets let go, but I also think there's a better chance that he gets retained. We'll see. Everything in your house is earth tone. It's funny you say that, because right now, let me show you where I am right now. Because I've got, my wife is sick in bed. A little too much partying last night from us. And my kids are all home, but one of them has been homesick all day. And 2 of the other, they're doing their homework, getting, stuff ready for the evening. So my house has been completely taken over. So I am, sequestered in the girls' room. So, let's see, got toys, all that stuff. So yeah, it's I'm in a different room. This is the life. This is the when you're a big star like me, this is where you shoot your videos. What about HaHa? Dominic, well, he had the big play, the big interception there at the end of the first half. That was a great play. He did a wonderful job keeping his feet in bounds. Now, Kaiser absolutely helped him by, basically sticking his eyes on that receiver the entire time. But I think he played a little better in this game, in the Cleveland game. You still see him take some bad angles, and you still see him turn down tackles, and he's not exactly the physical presence you really want back there, but I think like I said, I think he played a little better. He's going to have to continue that down this stretch here. I think the Packers take a stronger hold on players as they did many moons ago, fines, suspensions, with the off-field issues. I think they look at those each individually, and it's not really a collective thing. It is interesting that there have been a number of issues now around the Packers. It's funny because it's not comparative to the rest of the league. It's not that much different. It's a microcosm of society. You get 100 people in a building, and some are going to be busted for stuff, and some are going to be upright citizens, and it is what it is. It does seem like there's a bit of an uptick, though, for the Packers, where they went through a good stretch there where their off-field issues were minimal. But like I said, I think they will treat it on a case-by-case basis, and I don't see some kind of sweeping kind of change in how they administer punishment or what have you. Let's see. I'll take one or two more. Will we get Bennett's signing bonus back for our cap space? Most likely will. They are going to arbitration. It's not really about cap space, though. It's just about getting the actual money back because they paid him a bonus. Jones made the fair catch INT, but do you see any ball skills there? He hasn't really had a chance to showcase them. It's funny you say that because I thought of that this week after that play where the ball was basically coming out of the sky at him. But he hasn't really been in position to try and break on the ball. So I haven't really got a chance to see any of that. A lot of times when he's in that back end, he's so far back. He's always coming up to make a tackle. You did see him kind of get away with one there on the what probably should have been pass interference against Josh Gordon in the end zone. But yeah, for the most part, I just haven't seen opportunity there. So until we see him with his hands on the football a couple times, we don't really know what his ball skills are like. Ian, is Aaron Rodgers officially starting against the Panthers? Yes. Yes, he is. Nathan, I'm going to end here because I do find that interesting that people keep saying that. We need to stop relying on one man to carry this team. Can you honestly tell me that after the last 2 months and the ascension in play from guys like Demarius Randall, Jamal Williams, Devontae Adams, Clay Matthews, all of these guys have raised their level of play. Now, provided they haven't won as many games as they probably would have with Aaron Rodgers in there, because Aaron Rodgers is one of the best football players on the planet. And when you lose him, you're obviously going to take a step back as a football team. There's zero question about that. Not only is he one of the best players on the planet, he plays the most important position in the game. But this idea that, there's no one else and Rodgers does it all, it just, it doesn't sit well with me. Because these guys work too hard and are too good at what they do to be dismissed like that. The offensive line, they've played amazing football over the course of the last 2 months, especially in the run game, an area which I think most observers would think, oh, they're great pass protectors, but they're not really great in the run game. But now the last 2 months, they have been absolutely plowing through defensive fronts. And, it goes on. So this idea that, it's all Rodgers, like I said, it doesn't sit well with me. There was way too much talent on this team to dismiss it like that. Now, Rodgers gets the focus because he's awesome and because he's one of the best to ever do it, and rightfully so. Of course you're going to focus on that. But don't be so dismissive of the contributions of the other 52 men in the locker room. All right, everybody. Sorry if I didn't get to your question. They do go by very fast. But I can't believe how many of you are here. It's amazing. Thanks so much. Make sure you're checking PackersNews.com for all the latest. My latest podcast just came up. We'll have everything from Rodgers' first practice back. His first time, taking snaps since October 15th, last time he played. And, I'll be back tomorrow. They'll be practicing in pads, so we'll have the latest on the injury front, everything leading up to the Carolina game and beyond. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a good night.